सर्जिकल प्रोसीजर्स एंड नॉन सर्जिकल से भी हेल्प करते हैं, तो थोड़ा सा उसके बारे में.
So I don't know how you got that CV. I don't do surgery, firstly.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So I am a dermatologist also, like how Madhuri said. And we've all kind of moved, or rather added on to our practice, also aesthetics. It's just a name, but ultimately we are looking at your skin health, hair health, and overall general health, which gives you a much more healthy, nicer looking, glowing skin. Yeah, so that is aesthetics. But in today's day, there is a lot of things that we end up doing. From simply counseling what is the right skincare regime, what should you be doing at home, how should you be taking care of your internal health and the skin on top, to what you can do in the clinic. I'm sure you all must have heard of lasers. So it's not just one equipment, there are million technologies, but generally in a local term it's called lasers. I'm sure you must have all heard of Botox. So like that, that's not the only anti-aging solution, there are 10 others. So all of this is what you can do at the clinic. This is what we generally do.
So you have a solution for crow feet, frown lines, neck lines, all the lines you can solve.
Of course.
Bilkul.
Of course.
Even hand lines.
Even hand lines. You can
course.
change our fate. So Dr. Madhuri, as Dr. Shetty said something about how internally it also, so you also help in telling people nutrition tips, little bit of the advice that you give people.
So I think how I've heard throughout the day a lot of talks, people talking about, including Pooja Bedi saying ke internal matters. I think in India, which is the land of Ayurveda, definitely जो हम अंदर करते हैं हमारे बॉडी के अंदर है. Skin is the mirror of your body. It is the largest organ. So if something is wrong inside, it shows on your skin, it shows on your hair. So I do a lot of counseling for my patients. I get a lot of youngsters, 13, 14-year-old, who are only into products. So I obviously counsel them कि time पे खाना है, time पे सोना है, you have to exercise regularly. Only then we can achieve a good skin and hair. सिर्फ आप मेरे पास आओगे, एक ट्रीटमेंट कर लोगे या 2 क्रीम्स लगा लोगे, तो उससे आपकी स्किन या आपके हेयर अच्छे नहीं होने वाले. It's a 360 degree where you partner me on this journey.
I'm so sorry. The sun is coming on Rashmi's face. So Chitwan, can we just help the...
You want to change? You want to change? I don't mind.
Thank you so much. Maybe we can just shift the chairs a bit, so why should sun come on anyone's face?
Sorry, we are dermatologists. आप देख सकते हो हम कितना ध्यान रखते हैं हमारी skin का.
Yeah, I just was telling Madhuri that I just did a peeling today on my skin, which means to say I use some fruit or natural acids to just kind of brighten and remove the top dead layer of the skin, which then makes my skin even more sensitive to sun. So therefore, she knows why I requested and why we really moved. She also knows how it is to do a procedure and get out in the sun is absolutely a no-no. So when we say it, you need to know that we also follow it.
Thank you. But one quick question: the sun, we all told that jitna sunlight hoye अच्छा है. So would you like to answer that? And then
Sure, why not? So I think that is let's say a misconception to say that you only get your vitamin D from sun. इसीलिए सबको बोला जाता है sunlight जितना आया उतना अच्छा है. But again, sun has a lot of things that it actually gives you. It gives you your happy hormones. It makes you feel nice and brighter. So सिर्फ vitamin D नहीं है. So sun is important. But when is it important? How much sun should you take on is very important. So early morning sun is really, really good. So the rays are much nicer and the UV rays are not that harsh. And skin is a large organ, right? So it's not necessary that you should take all the sun on your face. There are other areas of the body that the sun will still fall on and you can still have your vitamin D synthesizing. Vitamin D not only comes from the sun, it also comes from your food. So that's not the only source that you should be scared of. So thinking of vitamin D, please don't stop applying sunscreen on your face, because we as women, especially Indians, have a tendency to get pigmentation on your face. Some families have it, which we call it as melasma. Especially when you're menopausing or going through a hormonal change, that's when it can get even worse. So applying sunscreen on the face is really important. There's the rest of the skin for you to absorb and make vitamin D for you. 2, if it's harsh sun like 435, which with high pollution and the skin is literally burning, that's not going to do any good to you. It is definitely going to do more harm. So yeah, avoid the harsh sun, avoid it on your face. avoid it in the hours between, let's say, 8:39 to around 4:30ish, especially an Indian sun which can get really harsh. So these are general sun care tips. As much as sun is important, not in certain space.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Madhuri, what other vitamins are important for the skin? After vitamin D, which one would you? Oh.
So I think हमारे यहाँ ये concept हो गया that we have macronutrition जो हमारे carbs और proteins होते हैं, and micronutrition. So there's a lot of your vitamin B12 besides D3 जिसकी deficiency की वजह से you get pigmentation. You also see a lot of gut issues and acne. So वो एक देखना है. With vitamin A deficiencies जो बच्चों में हम commonly देखते हैं, so we correct those in pediatric patients. And then उसके अलावा you have your zinc, silica, magnesium, ऐसे there are host of nutrients जो आपके बालों में, skin में help करता है. क्योंकि जब हम जो खाते हैं, if you eat a lower diet, it largely goes to your main organs. Skin और hair के लिए कुछ बचता नहीं है. It's not important. But जब हम अच्छा खाते हैं तो ऑब्वियसली जो बचा हुआ है वो स्किन और हेयर को मिलता है. इसलिए यू हैव टू हैव अ वेल राउंडेड न्यूट्रिशन. जो बोलते हैं ना, ईट योर रेनबो. दैट्स व्हाट आई टेल माय पेशेंट्स.
There are also, a lot of something like today I'm hearing a lot, Dr. Shetty, I don't know if it's your specialty, but autoimmune disease and the impact it has on skin. A lot of people of late I'm hearing this complaint, maybe because, I'm also belonging to a certain age. So is it age related? Is it food related? What causes it, and do you have solutions? Is that something you deal with?
So autoimmunity simply in layman terms means your own body is kind of turning against, your own immunity is turning against a few cells of your body.
Okay.
It could be hair. So you all must have heard of alopecia areata, which is like a condition where one bald patch happens in a particular space.
Right.
Now that could be autoimmune because your body is actually kind of, let's say, angry with your hair follicles. So it is kind of sending cells which is destroying it. So that's one autoimmune condition. Another for general health, if I have to say, thyroiditis. That is an autoimmune condition, while a lot of people are getting thyroid these days. One of the condition could be that. So like that, there are many conditions which are autoimmune and lead to muscle issues, skin issues. So what's important is to keep you can do really nothing about it because we don't know what triggers your immunity towards that way. What you could do is look at reducing your oxidative stress, which then leads to inflammation. So look at reducing anything inflammatory, whether it is food, whether it is what you apply on the top, your lifestyle, these things. So these are the two things which is in your control. So if you can get them at a limited level, stress, which is a very big factor, you could probably control autoimmune. Otherwise, that's something which could happen to anyone, anytime. Doctors of all fields deal with it. It is curable. Sometimes it's self-limiting. After some time, body says, okay, fine, now I'm okay with it. Let me be friends with this. So it's okay with it. Sometimes we need to give something to just suppress our immune cells. Could be for a short period. Sometimes it may be for life. And you need to, like I said, deal with it and keep it under limitation and control. So immune diseases or autoimmune diseases are things which every specialty deals with. Skin, rheumatology, XYZ, everybody, endocrinologist, everybody deals. So we as dermatologists also deal with it.
Okay. Dr. Madhuri, is there anything that you would suggest for good healthy skin? Like a lot of, she said anti-inflammatory. काफी लोग सुबह उठ के थोड़ा हल्दी पीते हैं, थोड़ा सा कलौंजी. There's a whole lot of these नुस्खास. तो आपके पास कुछ recommendation होगा for a good healthy skin कि हम सुबह उठ के क्या पिए?
मैं तो ये बोलती हूँ कि आप जो अपने दादा दादी बोलते थे कि अर्ली टू बेड, अर्ली टू राइज, प्लीज फॉलो दैट. क्योंकि अपने बॉडी का एक सर्काडियन रिदम, बायोलॉजिकल रिदम होता है. तो आप टाइम पे सोएंगे. जब मैं पेशेंट्स को बोलती हूँ आप 11, 11:30, डॉक्टर आप क्या बोल रहे हो? आज के ज़माने में कोई नहीं सोता 11:30, साढ़े. बट इफ़ यू डू दैट, आप समय पे खाएंगे द राइट फूड्स एंड हफ्ते में 3 बार कुछ समय निकाल के डू सम एक्सरसाइज एट होम. आप जिम नहीं जाओ बट घर पे करो. सो दिस इज व्हाट आई टेल माय पेशेंट्स. आप इतना भी कर लो, half your skin and hair problems will be treated, and then other half we are obviously there.
Okay, I would also like to welcome Dr. Jayashree Sharad to the panel. She is a celebrity cosmetic dermatologist, and she's also written her Dr. J's blog and a book on skin rules, if I'm not wrong.
Hi, good evening, and thank you for having me here. Yeah, there are 3 books. The third one's coming up. The first one was Skin Talks. Rashmi also did a first one with me. And then the second one was Skin Rules, and the third one's coming up next week, 27th.
So we should have had the launch here then. But Jayashree, I would like to, we've been discussing natural beauty and how to enhance it, but sometimes you need little help with, say, Botox or fillers. So what are the kind of options that are there? Do you deal with all that also? Cosmetic dermatology?
Yeah.
Cosmetic, sorry.
I think all three of us here deal with it, and we are all international trainers here. So it is very important to understand that when you're aging, it's not just the skin that is aging. The skin, the face, there are 5 layers. You have bone, then you have fat, then you have muscle, you have fat again, and you have skin, and all of that ages. So if you're just going to use a cream, it is only going to reach, maybe the deepest layer of the skin. What happens to the rest of the aging process? So you do need energy-based devices, maybe an ultrasound therapy. You do need fillers. You do need botulinum toxin or Botox, which is given into the muscle to relax the muscles and sort of ease the wrinkles out. And there is no harm as long as you know how to do it. You go to the right injector, and remember that less is more. And you basically, it's an amalgamation of science and art. So if you do that and do it correctly, you can actually create youthful faces and age gracefully.
How long does a Botox treatment last? Is there a time limit?
Yeah, it lasts for about 4 to 6 months, and and you never get worse if you stop doing it. If you don't want to do it next, it's fine.
It's okay. But is there, Dr. Rashmi, something as too much Botox? Why do some people get that look?
That's because, yes, like you said, it's not necessarily always too much. It's always even wrongly given.
All right.
So on your face, there are tiny, tiny, tiny muscles, and like body muscles, which are nice and big. Face is literally like thin strap muscles they are. So if you end up going to somebody who's not, let's say, well trained, okay, if you end up going to someone let's say not so well trained, you will be intending to give something to one muscle. It may then spread to the other muscle or go to the wrong muscle. That is when people get scared of, let's say, Botox. It's not that the tool is wrong. It's very important for you to go to the right provider and make sure an expert is dealing. As simple as it looks, you need an expert. So, one, you don't do too much Botox. It ends up looking very fake. Yes. It's just a doll who doesn't have lines. Who of us don't? Even a little child, when she smiles, will have a few lines there. So you don't end up trying to erase every line possible. Botox is not just about erasing lines. There are a lot of things that we can do with it. So, like I said, it's a tool, and you need to go to the right provider, period.
I think I tell my patients कि गाड़ी चलानी सबको आती है, but कितनी अच्छी गाड़ी चलाता है वो ड्राइवर पे डिपेंडेंट है. So if you have a good driver, you can drive any car beautifully. But ड्राइवर ही खराब है तो आप मर्सिडीज को भी ठोक सकते हो.
Well said. But Dr. Matri, is there any age जिसमें आप कहोगे कि Botox should not be? Either you are too young or too old. I mean, though she said that there is no old this thing. But है कुछ
See, I think as a doctor हम तीनों देखते हैं एक ethics हमारे patient को जब हम देखते हैं कि is it really required? I think more than age, is it really required? ज़रूरत है क्योंकि बोटॉक्स सेरेब्रल पाल्सी में बच्चों में भी यूज़ किया जाता है हाई डोजेस में. बट जब हमारे पास कोई पेशेंट आता है स्पेशली इन 18 to 20 years ऑफ एज, तो हम देखते हैं कि वहाँ पे क्या ज़रूरत है. मे बी उनको मसल्स बड़े हैं तो हम उसको कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं, बट डेफिनेटली हम उनको ये नहीं बोलेंगे कि आप फ्राउन लाइन्स या क्रोज ट्रीट करिए. जैसे रश्मि ने कहा कि इट इज़ नेचुरल, बेबीज़ को भी होती है लाइन्स. सो इट्स इम्पॉर्टेंट एज अ डॉक्टर जब आप जाए आपके डॉक्टर समझ के लिए आपकी क्या ज़रूरत है एंड इज़ इट रियली नेसेसरी, और वो करेंगे तो उसका लॉन्ग टर्म इम्पैक्ट भी क्या होगा. सिर्फ अब आपने लाइन्स निकाल दी बट आगे जाके उस पर्सन के स्ट्रक्चर पे एज जयश्री सेंगे बोन है, मसल्स है, उन पे क्या इम्पैक्ट होगा वो भी जानना ज़रूरी है. वेदर इट्स लेजर्स, बोटॉक्स, फिलर्स जो भी हम कर रहे हैं.
Just one last question on Botox. Is it the men who do it also or more women? Is there a gender bias to it?
Absolutely not. I think all genders. Why men and women? Today we're in a day and age where there are other genders as well. And I think it's for every possible gender. And, for example, if you have that constant number 11, that frown, you're not frowning but you still look like you're frowning and you want to ease that out, why not? You can actually give tiny doses of Botox there, relax that frown, and everybody, including your spouse, will be very happy that, oh, she's not angry anymore.
Is it very
so
painful?
A lot of women come and tell us that, you know, the husbands are frowning and they look angry all the time. Even he looks stressed when he's not. So that's when even men start with something small, and when that they look at what a difference it's made. Today, like Jayshree rightly said, everybody wants to look good. I don't think that the looking good has anything to do with gender anymore. Everybody wants to look good, right? I keep telling in most of my lectures that I don't think women want to kiss frogs and turn them into princes anymore, right? We'd rather kiss the prince. So, yeah.
Well said. But are the injections painful? Is the treatment painful?
Pain is a very subjective factor, isn't it? So one, it's not painful. We use the smallest, tiniest needle which you can hardly see. 1, 2, for those who are extra sensitive, there are numbing creams that we apply first and then inject it. And again, in the end, it all depends on the injector's hand. Some have a very gentle hand where you won't even know. Some doctors may have a slightly heavy hand where it may feel painful. Some patients are extra sensitive. Even if you touch them, they'll say, ouch. Some patients are okay even if you cut them through. So this is very subjective.
Other treatments, you talked about lasers. So do you use this only for cosmetic, but even for other purposes also? And just explain what exactly is laser therapy.
Basically, again, I was just having a conversation with a 18-year-old father yesterday in my clinic, and she is hairy. For her, it is a clinical condition. Laser hair removal is not aesthetic, but because she has a genetic and a hormonal issue, we treat it as a clinical condition. Again, lasers are, Dr. Chaitali just now spoke about aesthetic gynecology. So it's used for urine incontinence also. Same way we use for scars, we use for wounds. So lasers or again energy-based device is used for multiple things. Again scarring alopecias होती है बच्चों में, hair infections होते हैं. So there are a lot of things जो हम clinically में भी ये devices, even toxin या fillers हम use करते हैं for clinical indications. किसी को autoimmune disorder से defect हो गया face में तो उसमें भी हम fillers करते हैं. So हमारे लिए it is a tool, चाहे वो clinical हो, aesthetic हो, हम सब जगह कोशिश करते हैं कि हमारे patient को किससे ज़्यादा benefit होगा.
Do you want to add something to the laser therapy or any other? I am of course a layman, so the layperson. So Botox, lasers. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about?
Yeah, there are lots more in our. We have a lot of toys in our clinics. There's radio frequency energy-based devices, which tighten the collagen fibers, and they're very good when you start a little early. You want preventative anti-aging, treatments. And then there are people who don't want to jump into injectables right away. Then there are certain people who have heavy faces. You can't do a lot of injections. So you do radio frequency based, energy based devices.
How does that
ultrasound.
work?
So there's ultrasound and there's radio frequency. These two technologies will get into the deeper layers of the skin, and with that heat, they will stimulate your fibroblasts and collagen fibers. They're cells which promote and produce new collagen. So the existing collagen will tighten, and there will be new collagen formation over the next, say, about 3 months. And so it really firms and tightens the skin. There are no needles. Radio frequency is not so painful. It's actually painless, if I should say. Most of the devices, except maybe one. And you have to repeat the sessions either every week, depending on the device, either every week for 6 sessions, or every fortnight for 4 sessions, depending on the device. Ultrasound, on the other hand, is slightly more painful. So we do apply a numbing cream, as Rashmi said, make the patient wait for about 45 minutes and then do it. A lot of heavy faces, it really, the ultrasound energy, again it's heat energy, targets the deeper layers, also reduces a little bit of chubbiness, a little bit of fat, and tightens the skin. So, it's always a combination of treatments. You can't just do, chalo aaj RF kar lete. No. You have to, every face is different, every face is unique. And one single face may need a combination of a filler, a little bit of Botox, a little thread, a little radio frequency, a lot of them. But you can start slow if you want. And that's why going to the right dermatologist and, making your plan and saying, okay, this and then this and then this.
Would you like to add to that?
What would you want me to add? So basically, like she said, I'm just seeing a lot of layman crowd. So I'm just wanting to just make it a little more simpler and say, when you go to a clinic, can I do laser? You think it is one thing. It is not one thing. When you say laser clinic, you will just say, मुझे laser करने का. ऐसा है नहीं. Laser has become like a common terminology, but In that, we call it energy-based devices. There are different energies, like she explained. That's it. Depending on what your concern is it hair that you want to reduce? Is it pigmentation that you want to reduce? Is it a tighter skin that you want? Is it a lifted skin that you want? Is it an open pore that's bothering you? Is it an acne scar that's bothering you? Depending on that, the doctor will choose the device and the technology both. There could be combinations of one technology with 3 devices. So she will end up choosing it, they will end up setting the energy, and they will end up administering it to you. So it is very important, again and again, all 3 of us are telling you that you choose the right practitioner. It may look very simple. It may feel like, oh, this thing is cheaper here, somebody is doing a summer sale or a winter sale. It's not kapda or clothes that you're just buying. This is your skin, your face. So please make sure you go to a legitimate doctor. Make sure you go to a clinic which is backed by a doctor and you know who you're going to. This is not something that you go to a nice fancy spa and come out. This has real impact, and it has long-term impact, and it has deeper impact than you think.
Skin is something that is, it's not just the face, it's all of you. And when we do either weight loss or weight gain, we do see wrinkles, when there is a huge and very sudden. So the impact of that on your skin, and is there any way out, any solutions or any advice?
So I think again everybody wants to look good, and plastic surgery or body surgery has become common. Bariatric surgery has become common. हमारे पास patients आते हैं who have this layers of loose skin because after losing that weight it's sagging. So we do have machines, but we also collaborate with plastic surgeons and we work with them so that we can take off that excess skin through surgery, and then whatever remains we do contouring with all these energy based devices, just radio frequency है, cool devices है, so all these heat devices है, तो इससे हम फिर बाकी का contouring करते हैं. तो technology is really advanced. आजकल हमारे पास non surgical facelifts है कि आप लगा के बैठे 5-7 मिनट and then you're done, हर हफ्ते सेशन करिए and you actually get like a surgical facelift. तो उस तरह की भी टेक्नोलॉजी हमारे पास है. बट येस, इसमें काफ़ी साइंस है, रश्मि सर, एंड वी हैव टू रियली थिंक इट थ्रू, प्लान इट थ्रू, और हम काफ़ी एजुकेट करते हैं हमारे पेशेंट को, बिकॉज अगर उनको पता नहीं है और जाके वो गलत करेंगे, इट्स नॉट राइट.
Dr. Ashri, are there some kind of foods that you would say are bad for skin? I mean, not oily and they're not the basic, but there are various myths about food that if you have too much coffee it darkens your skin, or there are whole kinds of buzzwords. But are some foods, we know what foods are good, but are some foods that are really you would say that these are like a no for your skin?
Absolutely. I think sugar in any form. And when I tell my patients they don't have sugar, they'll say, oh yeah, okay, but we only have organic jaggery. That is also sugar. Dates are also sugar. Honey is also sugar. Sugar does 2 things. A, it increases a hormone called IGF-1. So if you are prone to acne or if you have polycystic ovarian disease, you will have like an exacerbation of acne. Secondly, it causes a process called glycation, whereby your collagen breaks down at a faster rate. So you are aging at a faster rate. So your fine lines are appearing sooner. Your pores, which are always open. Mind you, we have about 20,000 pores on our face, which are open. And that's very normal. But that opening tends to dilate because the collagen breaks down. And so they look more wide and they look more on the face. So that happens again if you have a lot of sugar. So I would definitely say sugar in any form. Then, of course, if you have other things like, if you have acne, then, you don't have dairy and you don't have food with high glycemic index and stuff like that. But when it comes to aging, I would say do not smoke. Because that's like one of the most... So when a person comes to me and says, Doc, can I smoke or can I drink? I said, listen, if I have to give you a choice, you can go ahead and drink, but don't smoke, But again, when you're drinking, make sure you don't have the sugary cocktails. And I'm not a drinker, so I don't know what are the non-sugary ones. But, gradually I'm learning that maybe a whiskey is okay. But no, don't say Dr. Jayashree said whiskey is okay, start drinking every day. I'm just saying that if there's an option. But I think that, Rashmi, you want to add something to that?
I think you covered it up very well. So when she says, I'm going on explaining what she says. So IGF, when she says, that's something, it's a small little, like let's say a hormone which releases, which helps things grow. Now when things grow, maybe not all the good things grow, right? So here even the bad things can grow, like an acne can become worse. So that's what she says. So, and when the collagen breaks, collagen becomes brittle, which means it becomes kadak. So it breaks much faster when the N-glycation process is faster. So basically sugar is a big no-no. And why did she also say any form of sugar? Because we are not looking at sugar. We are looking at anything that spikes your insulin in the body, which happens when sweet is excess. So it's not sugar, we are telling you not to have sweet. It could be any form, even for sometimes fruits such as chiku, mango, that can give you a spike. Yeah, so those can give you a spike. So you're avoiding a spike, and no fruit juice. That's another thing people come say, oh, but we are having fruit juice, very healthy. But no, that gives you a spike. You don't need fruit juice. So these are a few things that you read, you listen to someone, you read on the internet, it says sugar needs to be avoided. So if you understand what do we mean exactly by sugar, we mean sweet and not sugar, then probably to adapt it and put it into your life, it gets a little easier.
Some people say fruit is okay.
Eating a fruit is okay, but again, one fruit is good because it does have, how much ever we give you, let's say this nutrient, that nutrient, B1, 3, 6, D, you never know what a natural fruit has. We as doctors or as scientists or nutritionists haven't literally deciphered a food, a naturally occurring whole food. So it's difficult to say, let me replace apple with A, B and C vitamin. Doesn't happen. Apple might give you a lot more micronutrients which you don't know. But when you have a fruit, have one in a day, which is a general rule, only one fruit. If there are things like grapes and cut fruits that you want to have, a small bowl that can just fit into your own palm is something like a good measure. Have it in the first half of the day, another good way, so that even if you have a little bit of that extra sugar, energy, you're going to burn it out. And two, avoid the extra sweet fruits which I just named. So that's what you need to do. But and never have a juice. That only gives you sugar, because once you juice it, after I think around 4 minutes, most of the nutrients die down. The only thing which remains is the sweet in it, which will spike you and which is not good at all. Yeah, so therefore this is the funda for fruit.
Great. Now the funda for milk. Suddenly milk has become a bad word. I mean,
I personally think, it is being overhyped. While I agree it does cause acne, but not all patients, they come to me, doctor, I heard dairy is bad, but should I stop it? I said, nahi, aap lijiye. Also, let's understand, a lot of dairy is nowadays contaminated by growth hormones, because आप वो दूध वाले से लेते रहो, वो चाहता है. I'm not blaming anybody, but that is the consumerism, and a lot of times there are pesticides and chemicals which the cow or whatever cattle is having, and then it's coming in your milk. So आजकल contamination is very high, and I think that is the element which when you consume, तब जाके आप देखोगे कि maybe it is increasing your acne and it is giving you gut issues. Similar thing with gluten. काफी patients आते हैं with allergies and suddenly we diagnose gluten. तो पहले तो हम खाते थे, अब suddenly क्या हो गया? Again, there's a lot of contamination there. Processing कैसे हो रही है? वो किस तरह पैक हो रहा है plastic में? And all those things influence. And जब हम consume करते हैं, हम वो realize नहीं करते, and that's where the skin and hair problem starts.
In fact, where you look at pure dahi, it's a probiotic. It's a very good probiotic. If you just, make your own curd yogurt at home, it's good for the skin. It's good for the body. It's good for your health. So she rightly said, dairy is it's just an overhype right now. Except for people, even I in my practice, except for people with acne, I say, okay, you can have it. And I don't know, what do you do, Rashmi?
Also, the question to all of you is, how long do you think a cow will give milk naturally?
Yeah.
After giving birth to a baby?
Yeah.
How long do we lactate? Isn't it? It's just like that. A cow cannot be giving you milk forever. If it is, then you need to think, how is it giving milk? So it's obviously been injected with things which are unhealthy, which is passing on from the cow's milk to you. And therefore things are going bad, like Madhuri exactly said. So there are certain artificial hormones given to it to go on lactating, even if its child is also given birth to another child, which is so unfair. But that's what's going wrong with us. And again, another thing I believe is in regional food. So I'm a South Indian. I love my rice. If somebody says stop rice, you're putting on weight, eat roti.
I only eat rice. Exactly. I'm a South Indian too.
I kind of eat rice even for my dinner, and that's okay. And my body knows to digest rice. If I put in probably wheat into my body, it may get inflamed because it doesn't know how to digest it. So when you do all this exotic diet which comes from here, there and other places, you would rather eat what your body and your gut knows how to deal with, and that will get digested easily.
You wanted to add about parathas?
As I say, I'm a North Indian. I love my parathas. Maybe rice would not. So I think genetics and our whatever lineage is there, it plays a very strong role, and we should respect that. You know, ये जैसे रश्मि said, you know, ये बाहर के fruits आ रहे हैं, बाहर के produce आ रहे हैं, you know, and maybe things like avocados. People love them. I don't like it. You know, I like my mangoes in mango season, and I tell my patients, खाइए. It's not going to give you sudden acne, but yes, एक limit में खाना चाहिए. You know, so it's follow the good habits and don't overdo anything. कुछ भी आप ज़्यादा करोगे नुकसान करेगा.
Any a nightly ritual that helps your skin, or a daily, you know, a lot of people say soap mat use karo, it's bad for skin. ये भी myth आ रही है. Any procedure, you know, when you're going to sleep, would you recommend something, maybe massaging your skin, maybe with oil or any nightly? What do you do? Do you have a nightly routine?
I have a very simple routine. I make sure I remove my makeup, come what may. Especially the makeup around my eye. I'm not vigorous, I'm very gentle. I'll take a little baby oil and just, you know, dab and remove it, not try to rub, not try to exfoliate. And once I do that, I apply some form of moisturizer. Yes, you can use a serum, and then you can do an under eye cream, and then you can do a moisturizer, you can do an anti-aging cream, all of that. But I have sensitive skin personally. It's quite sad. I get loads of very amazing samples we all get, but I can't use them because I get rashes, and I get a lot of puffiness, and I get post-nasal drip and allergic rhinitis and all of that. So I just stick to a moisturizer, and that's all that I do. Maybe twice in a week I do a retinol. Yes, there's a lot of talk about gua sha and massage, since you said aap massage karte ho kya. Now that is only going to help, you know, we have lymph. There's a fluid called lymph, and we have something called lymph nodes and lymph glands, right? And there's a lymphatic drainage. So that fluid has to be drained. Naturally, it drains out, okay? If for some reason it gets clogged, you have a puffy face in the morning when you wake up. So you can either use your fingers and do a deep tissue massage, or you can use one of those jade rollers or gua sha or whatever to drain the fluid. So that's all that it does. So massaging it at night and saying, oh I'm not going to age, and I'm not going to get wrinkles, and my face is not going to sag, I think is the biggest myth. So I would keep it simple, and I make sure I don't eat after 7:30 p.m. That's a ritual, so that also helps. And I think that's about it.
Okay, so keep it simple. I love those last lines. I think that's really the big message that is coming across. And there are solutions, but everything I think in moderation, even Botox. So thank you all for this.
I would just say that just because I've said I keep it simple, if somebody has hyperpigmentation, or somebody has acne, or somebody has an eczema, and they need certain creams to be applied at night, you must do it. If your dermatologist has told you, there's no, you must do it. And also, if your skin tolerates it, and you have oily skin, you want to use a beta hydroxy serum on alternate nights, anti-aging, you want to use retinol on alternate nights, please go ahead and do it. It is good. Just consult with a dermatologist. Thank you.
Not so simple. Okay. Thank you so much, all of you, for this conversation. Thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.